So I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting of the Utility Service Board to order. So first on the agenda tonight is the approval of the minutes from our previous meeting on July 6th. Are there any questions or comments or revisions for the minutes? Okay, seeing none, then is there a motion to approve the minutes? And I don't see Jim here, who usually makes those motions.
So he's not, so I'll move. So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, Megan seconds. Latrina, can you please call the roll?
Burnham,
Yes.
Kapler,
Yes.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Enoch,
Yes.
Eman.
Yes.
Okay, the minutes are approved. Next up are the approval of the claims with standard invoices in the amount of $2,414,412.83. Is there a motion? Are there any questions or comments about the standard invoices? Amanda.
So I had a question, and maybe I just haven't seen these on there before, but I noticed on page 1 that there were 2 refunds that were noted on the invoice descriptions. And again, I apologize if we've seen them there before, but I thought the refunds were on a different report.
Sorry, I'm looking and I'm not seeing them. If it's a refund from a vendor, then it would be on the claims list. If it's a refund to a customer, then it would be on a separate form.
That makes sense. The first one is for Alan Dunn, and then the bottom one was from Kreider and Kreider. So that makes sense. Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, we don't have them on there very often, I guess, so.
Yeah, okay, makes sense. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Yes, Jeff.
Well, I thought it was interesting that the customer changed their mind, and I don't know how that works for a connection, but anyway, I like that note. Everett Prescott Inc. on page 2, 2 6-inch Omni meters. These are the flow meters at the WIC. So I Googled the WIC and saw that there's the WIC's building and then a WIC subdivision. But I wasn't really sure why we put 2 flow meters there. So I'm interested in that.
That I think would be an engineering question. Nancy, do you have any?
Those are just their service, their revenue meters. They have 2 connections to our system. So we buy the meter assembly and they pay us back with their connection fee.
But understood that there are water, flow meters, but I believe these are different. Could you look into that for me, please? For I think these Omni meters or flow meters that we place in the system for study purposes, and I was wondering why they got placed at the WIC. If I'm wrong about that, you can let me know, but that's usually what these Omni meters are used for, I believe.
All of our Omni meters are revenue meters. They're all Omnis. Why it's listed as a flow meter, I can't see what you're seeing, so I'm not sure how it's listed.
Oh, okay.
But I know for sure that those are their revenue.
The revenue meters. Okay. I got
WIC,
confused with something else. Thank you very much.
that's okay.
Okay, any other questions? All right, seeing none, then is there a motion to approve the standard invoices?
So moved.
Second.
All right, Latrina, can you please call the roll?
Parmenter,
Yes.
Bannock,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Eman,
Yes.
Kapler.
Yes. Okay, Standard invoices are approved. Next up are utility bills in the amount of $166,620.70. And are there any questions or concerns about utility bills? All right, seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
second,
And Latrina, please call the roll.
Beeman,
Yes.
Bannock,
Yes.
Kapler,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Parmenter.
yes,
Okay, utility bills are approved. Next up are wire transfers in the amount of $370,916.43. Are there any questions on wire transfers or concerns? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve wire transfers?
So moved.
second,
All right, and Latrina?
Bannock,
Yes.
Kapler,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Parmenter,
yes,
Beeman.
Yes.
Okay, wire transfers are approved. Last is customer refunds in the amount of $3,510.03. And are there any questions about refunds? Okay, I actually did have a question. I was wondering on the customer refund for Centerstone, it looks like there's a water funds refund of $954.32. And I may be remembering this wrong, but I was thinking that we were not able to refund leaks on water that we could for wastewater.
I'll have to pull that one. I haven't seen that refund. Vic signed it. It didn't come across my desk, so I apologize. That looks.
Gene,
Yes.
you're generally correct that water leaks are not going to be credited unless you can show that the leak occurred somewhere between the curb and the house and emptied out into the yard type of a deal, or didn't get used and go back in. There are opportunities, and actually I think I'm getting confused here. My apologies. I'm explaining when we can give sewer credits for leaks. There are instances when water issues can get credited, but it's generally when there is a problem with the method by which the meter is operating. If you can show that the meter is not operating correctly, then you can either get credits or be debited.
So like if there was a leak at the meter or something.
If the meter was running too fast, if we could show a mechanical failure of the meter or some issue with the read itself, then there can be a correction to the bill. But the bright line rule is, you're right, the bright line rule is that there aren't going to be credits given for a leak in the system.
Okay, so with this being listed as a credit balance due to leak adjustment for both water funds and wastewater funds, I'm wondering if like the wording on the reason for the refund might need to be revised, or are we just assuming that it was something along those lines as opposed to like a leak? Is that correct, Chris?
Well, I don't have any idea because I've not been given the facts behind it. I don't know what the entry is about and what the details behind it are. So I hate to speculate.
Okay, I understand. So maybe Laura, when you have a chance, you can kind of look into that. I would just like a little clarification, but I'm comfortable putting this out for a motion to approve.
Yeah, I'll pull the refund request and double check it.
Okay, thank you.
And it also, like Chris said, this could have been something that we found through the AMI project as well, where there's a leak.
Okay.
And they got charged for it.
Okay, well, and that could be too. Thank you.
I'll check it. Thanks.
Is there a motion to approve customer refunds?
So moved.
I'll second,
And Latrina?
Beeman,
Yes.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Kapler,
Yes.
Bannock,
Yes.
Burnham.
Yes.
Okay, refunds are approved. Next on the agenda, we have the approval of the consent agenda, and Laura Pettit is going to talk with us.
Good evening, Laura Pettit from Finance. We have one item on the consent agenda for $15,895 for Harrell Fish for the installation of 3 fans at Monroe Water Treatment Plant High Service Building. Are there any questions about this item? Seeing none, the item has been approved per staff recommendation.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have the request for approval of an agreement with Linko Technology for maintenance and technical support for pretreatment and FOG software access. And James Hall. I don't see him on. Is there somebody else going to report on this?
Hi, this is Chris Wheeler with City Legal, and I wasn't planning to present this agreement tonight, but I will make an effort to do so. What this contract is doing is hiring Linko Technology to install, maintain, provide training and technical support for a software package that works on the fats, oils, and greases program for the city of Bloomington's utility department. And this contract is the vehicle that's going to allow us to do that. And I would really hate to try and answer any technical stuff, but it is software that we are a software package that we are purchasing for the purpose of enhancing our fog protection program.
Thank you so much, Chris. Are there any questions or thoughts? Okay, seeing none, then is there a motion to approve this agreement with Linko?
So moved.
I'll second.
And Latrina, please call the roll.
Kapler,
Yes?
Bannock,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Eman.
Darn space bar, yes.
All right, thank you. So that agreement is approved. Next, we have the request for approval of a memorandum of understanding with the Bloomington Police Department for the demolition of the incinerator building at the Winston Thomas property. And Chris, you're down to talk about this one.
This one I am prepared to discuss with the board. Good evening, Chris Wheeler, City Legal. And so I don't know how familiar all of the board members are with the layout of Winston Thomas property, but years and years ago, an incinerator building was built on the property, on the north side of the property towards Walnut Street. And I think they turned it on once years ago, but never ultimately used it for its intended purpose. And I'm not even sure if it functions today. I don't think that it does. But CBU has wanted to tear it down for a long time, just hasn't done so. It is now situated between Bloomington Police Department and emergency responder buildings. So we have the new evidence building that was just or is being built. And we have the training facilities for the firing range and whatnot, and the fire department's tower situated all around this incinerator. Well, the Bloomington Police Department would like to get the incinerator gone, and I suspect they'd like to use that land someday. And that's why they're willing to enter into this agreement to fund the demolition of this building. I don't recall what the estimated cost for demolition is, but I think it's well below the $25,000 that the Bloomington Police Department has available to contribute. So it's anticipated, I believe, that this will not cost CBU anything. We're just willing to put in the manpower to bid it out, select the contractor, oversee the project, and get the building demolished and removed.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Chris about this? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to approve this MOU?
So moved.
Second.
And Latrina, can you please call the roll?
Burnham,
Yes.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Kapler,
Yes.
Beeman,
Yes.
Panic.
Yes.
All right, that MOU is approved. Thank you. Next, we have request for approval of an MOU with Cook Incorporated, cooling tower evaporation credits. And Nancy Axum is going to tell us about this. Hi, Nancy.
Hello, Nancy Axum Engineering. This is a thing we allow for people that have cooling tower systems. Most of the water that they use for the system evaporates into the air. And so they go through a monitoring program with us where we register the amount of water discharged to the sewer from the system and the makeup water that fills the tower to keep the system going. So Cook has gone through this year-long process with us. They have 3 towers. They all 3 had their own separate metering system. And from that, it's been determined that, agreed upon that 20% of their water goes to the sewer. So therefore, they would get an 80% credit to their main meter, because these meters are downstream of their master meter. So they get billed for all of it up front. And then when we collect the monthly readings for their makeup water into the system, we would credit them 80% of those readings back to their master meter charges.
Okay,
Any questions?
thank you. Any questions? Okay, I'm not seeing any questions. So with that, is there a motion to approve this MOU?
So moved.
Second.
And Latrina?
Panic.
Yeah.
Kapler,
Yes.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Beeman,
Yes.
and Burnham.
Yes.
Okay, that MOU is approved with Cook. Very good. All right, before we move on to old business, I wanted to announce to the public that at the end of our meeting, the last item is petitions and communications. So if you have any public comment that you would like to make at today's meeting, please begin to enter that into the Facebook Live comments, and our staff person, Holly, will read those publicly in our meeting. All right, is there any old business from the board? Nope. Any old business from staff? Nope. New business from the board? All right, any new business from staff?
No.
All right, subcommittee reports. I know that the Finance Committee met recently, and Jim Sherman is the chair of that committee, but he's not in attendance. Are there any other committee members that would like to give just a brief report as to, you know, what the committee was looking at?
I suppose that would be me.
Okay. Go for it, Amanda.
No, we just simply reviewed the budget memo, a preliminary draft of the budget memo that Laura and the team prepared, which I believe has now been circulated to all of the board members via email. We do encourage, even though the Finance Committee looked over everything and we thought it was in order, the team did a great job putting it together like they always do. But if there are any concerns or questions, we should definitely address them to Laura. It will be brought to our meeting. I see Laura nodding, and she might want to chime in here too as to what our process is as to when we're going to need the final approvals.
Thank you. Yes, we will bring the next draft, which shouldn't substantially be different. We may get some updated numbers from the controller's office for personnel expenses and fleet expenses. But we will have, before our next meeting in 2 weeks, another finance subcommittee meeting to review this again and go over any changes. And then that night we will present it to the board and have the full presentation. Our budget first reading to council is on August 20th. That date has been revised as well. It previously was on the 18th, but it's got pushed back to the 20th at 6:30.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful to kind of just have that timeline in mind. Okay, thank you, Amanda, for chiming in with the report. And then we have staff reports, and I'll turn it over to Laura.
Thank you. I stole my own thunder. I was going to talk about the timeline of the budget. As I said, we're going to bring it to the board for a presentation in 2 weeks. If there's any revisions, we'll have one more board meeting before we go to council. So we'll have time to make any adjustments as needed. But otherwise, Vic is out for 2 weeks, so I'm here if anybody needs administrative support.
Okay, thank you. Is that it, Laura?
And that's it for me.
Okay, thank you. All right, then we are into petitions and communications from the public. And Holly, are there any comments or communications that need to be read out?
No comments or questions via Facebook.
Okay, well, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.